Hello everyone, this is the audience I'm going to be teaching today. So today I'm going to be talking about RIT teams. The objectives in this PowerPoint are going to be talking about standards, some case histories, who is the RIT team, how many firefighters it consists of, what is a size up, the duties of the RIT team, and different exercises involved. So, like I said, a RIT crew usually consists of around 2 firefighters, anywhere from 2 to 4 firefighters. So firefighters are engaged in interior structural suppression. They use CBAs and work in teams of 2. Once firefighters have engaged in interior operations, the standard applies. It's called the 2 in and 2 out rule. What it means is a minimum of 2 firefighters are properly equipped and trained right outside the structure, while 2 firefighters are also interior. So a rapid intervention crew is a group of trained individuals who are fully equipped and ready to go in action in a second notice. Their purpose is to help reduce the risk of injuries and fatalities during unexpected emergencies on the fire ground. So some different case studies. There was a 1988 fire called the Hackensack in New Jersey. 5 firefighters were killed while fighting a fire at an auto dealership. The 5 firefighters were trapped after the roof collapsed. An important factor was the limited manpower available for an effective rescue attempt. This is essentially why RIT teams were created. So situations like this, we can actually go in and save the firefighters rather than having multiple deaths such as this fire. Another case study, 1995 in Mission, Kansas. 1 firefighter died when he fell through the floor. There was numerous attempts made by fellow firefighters, but no one was able to rescue him. Firefighters need to be trained and well equipped, especially the RIT team. There's also something we do called the Denver drill, which is a nationally practiced drill that all departments practice, because in Denver, 1 firefighter died because he was in a small and trapped space, and it was very hard to get him out because only 2 firefighters can fit in at a time, and it was very limited mobility, and that firefighter also ended up dying, which is why RIT teams are so important. You need to try, many different drills and find, multiple different ways to get firefighters out, because with gear on, firefighters can weigh anywhere from 215 pounds to 350 pounds, depending on how much a firefighter actually weighs. So it's important that RIT teams continuously practice and train. Another case study in 1995 in Pittsburgh. 3 firefighters were killed while battling a fire in a 4-level house when a collapse occurred, and it actually trapped them inside. There wasn't an accountability system on scene, and no one really knew that they had to cease until towards the end of the fire, once everyone was accounted for and they were missing 3 people. So an accountability system is very important. Usually the IC on scene is the one to use the accountability system, and the captains will report to the IC that everyone in his crew are accounted for. Another one in 1999, Worcester. 6 firefighters were killed while battling a fire in an abandoned 5-story cold storage building. Initially, 2 firefighters were lost in the building, and other crews were sent in to find them. And there was a rapid change in fire conditions that prevented them from success. You gotta be aware of things like weather, and such as wind. Wind can really affect fire behavior, so it's really important to continuously size up the building, the situation, the weather, to prevent or to know what's coming and to be ready for it. Another one in Iowa, 3 firefighters were killed attempting a rescue during a dwelling fire. The IC, which is an incident commander, left the scene to transport one of the victims to the hospital. And like I said, the IC's kind of in control of the accountability system, so when he did leave the scene, there was no really firefighters accounted for on scene, and it kind of ended up being a huge mess. And ultimately, 3 firefighters did die on this fire, which is why RIT teams are so important nowadays. So, does anyone know the ideal number of firefighters that should be assigned to a RIT team?
2 to 4.
2 to 4. And why is that?
Because it'll take at least that many to get the whole RIT process started.
Right. It'd be very hard for a single firefighter to get, a body that can weigh anywhere from 215 to 350 pounds by himself in a quick and efficient manner. So, in order to be a part of a RIT team, you really only have to be firefighter 1, although it does require lots of training, and usually on the fire scene, the incident commander will assign a RIT team. They are mandatory, especially in 2017, that on every single fire there is a RIT team assigned. So another question for you guys, if you're aware, does the RIT team have to stay the RIT team the entire time, or can a RIT team change throughout a fire? That is correct. Thank you, Kitchen. A RIT team should always stay the RIT team throughout the duration of the fire. It prevents confusion, and that's basically it. Should the RIT team take the place of a safety officer or not?
You should not.
Yeah, you don't want to take the place of safety officer. The RIT team is specifically designed to only be there to, help down firefighters in any given situation. So a RIT team can be a part of either an engine, truck, or rescue company, and just depending on what the incident commander wants. So engine company pros and cons. They have the pros has the capability of a water supply, and they have lots of variety of tools and equipment. The cons, there may be personnel that lack training, and they have a limited amount of forcible entry tools, although the ladder truck does have a surplus amount of forcible entry tools. So a truck company, the pros are it's full of ground ladders, has a variety of forcible entry tools and equipment, although it may not be equipped with a pump or hose. Not everyone has a ladder truck company, not all departments do. And that's about it. So oftentimes there is a rescue company, not all departments have one, but the pros are there's a wide variety of rescue equipment. They usually have personnel with higher levels of training as well. The cons, they may not be equipped with a pump or hose as well, and also they're limited to ladders. So RIT team procedures, you always want to size up any given situation. You want to also set up your tools, and you want to be ready to deploy, search, and recover. So pre-arrival size up, you want to look at the construction of the building, know what it's made out of. You want to, is it a commercial building, a residential building? Is it made out of lumber? What's the roof made out of? These are all things you want to be looking for when you do size up a structure. And you also want to look for any life hazards and exposures as well. There may be, a fire on the second story of a building, although there may be, telephone wires running close, or trees that also could catch fire, or anything like that. So you want to be aware of all exposures. So another post-arrival size up, you also want to be aware of the weather, especially wind. Wind can really affect fire behavior, so you really need to be aware of incoming winds, such as Santa Ana winds if you're in California or whatever. Just like I said, you want to be aware of exposures as well. Is there anything close to the fire that could catch on fire, like trees, telephone wires that can cause other fires if they spark, or, is there a shed next to the structure that's on fire? Anything, next to it that can be a possibility to catch fire, you want to be aware of. You want to be, know the area of your fire jurisdiction and the location and extent of the fire as well, and the time of the incident. So, like I said, it's really important to use an accountability system on scene. You want to be very aware and familiar with it. I know for UFD, we talk about our accountability system and our SOPs, and it's continuously studied and reviewed. And you also want to know your mutual aid agreements with local fire departments, and you need to know as well who is keeping track of the firefighters on scene. So you always want to have your tools staged. Firefighter Simmons, do you know any types of tools that you would want to have staged for the RIT team?
Maybe a RIT bag.
RIT bag. What else? Is it any Ogawa?
Backboard.
Back.
Yeah, you can get them out of there quick.
All right.
Sheet roller.
Maybe
I don't
some
think
saws.
you-
Maybe some saws so you can
Chainsaws.
cut
Absolutely.
an egress point.
Crash axe.
Crash axe. Maybe
Must be
some
a
ropes. Maybe a
ladder.
rotary
Reliable
saw.
tool in the fireground.
Yep.
Hand tool.
2 crash axe.
Hand tools. The irons is really important.
3.
Maybe some ropes. Tarps. You also always want to do a 360 of the fire building. Look for egress and ingress points. For any given firefighter that is down in a building, you need to know the fastest way to get to them once you find out their location. So you need to know all the exits and everything like that, all the stairwells, and so you just need to know the building that you might be entering in to save another firefighter's life. You also need to be aware if ladders are placed properly and know the sides of the building and exposures. So the RIT team officer should always have his radio on scan. All this means is that he can be hearing everyone talk no matter what channel he's on. This is just in cases if a firefighter that is down is on the wrong frequency channel, and the RIT team will be hearing to call Mayday. And the RIT team should also have their own radio frequency to operate on as well. So search procedures: if you do have to enter a building to rescue a downed firefighter, you can do a left-hand search or a right-hand search. Essentially all this means is you either want to keep your hand or your foot on the wall to know where you're going. Oftentimes when you're interior on a building, it's completely black when it's on fire. All the smoke prevents you to see. Even if your hand's right in front of your face, you probably won't be able to see it. So you just need to be aware of where you're going in the building so you can get back out. You can search with ropes as well to try and get a body inside of a building. And a systematic floor-by-floor search is recommended. So when firefighters are down in a building, they need to activate their pacify. So all this really is, it makes a really loud sound so you can be able to locate them quicker. They also radio for help. They call it Mayday, 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 and that's when all traffic needs to stop and only the incident commander on scene will be talking to the patient the firefighter that is calling for Mayday. And normally, you might find out the location of the firefighter, but oftentimes they move. So when you're inside of a building, you need to be aware that the firefighter may not be in that particular location. So 3 W's for what firefighters must do. Firefighters must know and to keep themselves out of trouble, and it's also what firefighters must know and do when they find themselves in trouble, and what the RIC teams must know and do to rescue or remove firefighters in trouble. So those are the 3 W's for the RIT teams. So procedures in managing the downed firefighter is Mayday. You want to Mayday, Mayday, Mayday is a call, like I said, clear radio traffic. evacuate the building, and attempt to identify the firefighter in trouble by your accountability system, so you can kind of pinpoint who it is and what his assignment was, and place companies back in action as well that are doing the essential fire suppression duties. The only people responsible for getting that down firefighter out of a building will be the RIT team that is activated. If there's other firefighters inside of the building, fighting the fire, they will not move from their position to try and rescue that firefighter. That will not be their job. Only the RIT team is responsible. So you need to locate the down firefighter. You need to see if his once you get to him, if his pass device is on, you need to make sure to turn it off. It's very extremely loud and you won't be able to communicate with your other down firefighters. If his air supply is low, you obviously need to replace his bottle. Also in the RIT bag we have a mask. If his mask is broken or cracked, we have a mask that you can slide right over his face as well. In the RIT bag we also have wire cutters. If the firefighter's entangled, you can get him out real quick with the wire cutters. So upon notification of a down firefighter, should the IC evacuate the fire building? Does anyone want to answer that?
Yes.
Yes. And who should evacuate?
Everyone.
Yes. And should interior firefighter aid in the search of a down firefighter?
No.
No. Thank you. So some important questions to ask yourself before entering the building is who is trapped, how many, the location of the firefighters or firefighters, and what their last assignments was, and if their radio is equipped. So a system that we use to locate or that a down firefighter is supposed to say via radio traffic is an acronym called LUNAR. He's supposed to let the incident commander know his location, his unit number, his name, his assignment, and any resources that he may need. And so he may need, like I said, he may need more air. So you need an extra bottle. If he's down in the basement, you may need to bring a ladder to get him out. So for searching techniques, you can do large area searching. You may need to breach walls and floors in large openings, remove a firefighter from a set of stairs, or remove a firefighter that's in a confined space. That's why it's so important to conduct drills and exercises to really train on this, because every situation could be different, and you may need to figure out new techniques on how to get the firefighter out as quickly as possible. You might need to remove using a ladder as an overhead as a rope, raising a firefighter using a handcuff, knot, or wristlets, removing a firefighter through a window, or bringing a firefighter down a ladder. These are all techniques that every firefighter should train on to make sure that they're well prepared if they ever have to be a part of a RIT team that's activated. So the RIT team must not have tunnel vision or monitor fire conditions. Do not ignore any safe practices. RIT teams will need to be rotated and rehabbed as well. So if the initial team goes into service, you should get another team in place. So some considerations, firefighters will have the natural tendency to help their brother and sister firefighters. So on occasion, this could lead to a rapid and unsuccessful rescue. So in most cases, it will lead to confusion, chaos, and possible additional injuries. So you kind of need to put, that aside when you're put in this kind of situation. So you need to remember to always observe the fire conditions. Never put yourself in a position where you are dependent on someone else to get you out of. Always know an escape route, and always know a backup escape route. And that's it. Thank you very much. Is there any questions?
Have you ever been part of a RIT crew?
I've never been part of a RIT crew personally, and I've never seen one activated as well. I've seen RIT crews, RIT teams be set up on scene and get all their tools and equipment set up, but never personally was assigned to a RIT team. Anything else? Thank
Good
you.
job.